Hey, thanks for your time, Bobby. I think first of all, your scheduling, what's the mindset? I know this year's a little bit different because of COVID and stuff like that, but you've historically obviously scheduled very tough games. And even tonight, you would have, in a normal year, been on the road at Creighton, who's a top 10 team. What's the mindset behind scheduling these tough non-conference games early on? And how much of that did you pick up from your time at like maybe Duke in terms of the tough teams you guys were playing in the non-conference?
Thanks, Saul. Good morning, everybody. With regards to scheduling, we're actually going to announce our non-conference schedule today. So that should be released at some point later. So be on the lookout for that. It's been our philosophy. We want to try and seek out high-profile games, opportunities for our players to measure ourselves against some of the better teams in the country. And we've done that just about every year I've been here. And this year, we had some cancellations, and so we had to shuffle things around a bit. It's not an ideal situation to right out of the gate play one of the best teams in the country that's bringing a core of their team back this year. But it was our only route to getting the games like that on our schedule that we needed. So. We're making our final preparations now to head out on Monday.
Go Jordan Spurgeon, followed by Hode.
Sweet. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today. Really appreciate it. Over the last few days, we've talked with Josh and Marcus, and one player that's kind of come up as someone that might surprise people this year is Holland Woods. Can you speak on what you've seen out of Woods so far in practice?
Yeah, I mean, Holland has been very solid and very reliable, very dependable, very low maintenance. Just a guy that, comes to practice every day, has great attitude, and then he just fits into what we do very well. He makes the right play. He's very unselfish. He's looking to pass the basketball. And when you have a number of guys that could put the ball in the basket, I think our players enjoy playing with a player that is really looking to make his teammates better. He's very experienced, so he's older, which is something that you really like. Coming in knowing that you have some young guys that are going to be playing a major role this year, to have someone else that is able to communicate with them and let them know what this is going to be like, because it's nothing like what I know. Josh and Marcus have played against really good players. But when you're playing against these really, really good teams, like a Baylor or potentially a Villanova or any of the top teams in our conference, this isn't AAU basketball anymore. This isn't high school basketball anymore. I don't care how much talent you have. So, it's going to be an adjustment, and so I hope we're prepared for that. Very early next week.
Go Hode Rubino and then Ray Belcora.
Hi, Bobby. I know that a lot of people may point to this team being more of a guard U makeup when you have Zoe, Remy, Josh, Holland coming off the bench. But are you really trying to balance this team so it does have a more inside presence, even though maybe the roster doesn't lend itself in that direction necessarily?
Well, Hode, I'm not, we're not going to put 5 guards out there, and we're going to try and build combinations of players that make sense, that, we could take advantage of our strengths, which, we have a number of really high level, I think, players on the perimeter. But certainly we're going to need production from Jalen Graham and Chris Oston and Tayshaun Cherry and Pablo as he gets his feet under him. So we're going to need, that interior presence, that rebounding, that shot blocking at the basket, and all the things that you talk about and trying to become a complete team. And that's our goal. I mean, it's very early, and we've had a very unusual off season, but we got to get it in gear, and we got to practice better than we have the last couple of days. And so there are some alarms going off a little bit about what we're doing on the practice floor right now, and about our maturity level. We're kind of, I would equate it to someone dating someone right now. We're like, we like going to the movies and maybe getting a nice dinner, but, are we ready to take it to the next level and like commit? Like, are we ready to commit to each other? Or are we willing to put the toilet seat down every time after, are you willing to, take the garbage out? Like, we got to, do some of the dirty work too. It's great when you have a lot of talent and a lot of expectations and a lot of guys with a lot of hype, but we got to do, a lot of the little things that you got to do in a relationship. And that's what we all are. We're a team. We're like a living, breathing relationship that needs work like every day.
Hey, Bobby, just days away from playing one of the top teams in the country without any exhibition or even other game experience, and as a team with a lot of newcomers, do you have a good idea for what the rotation will be like at this point, or will that be pretty fluid?
I think it's coming into focus for me. And again, it's everything has happened pretty rapidly, just with the minimal time and then having guys out at different stages. But I think that's definitely coming into focus. We've done more, with the officials than I've done in the past, and we've had more intra-squad games. We'll have officials again today. This will be our last opportunity for that. So that this will be the fourth time that we would have done that to try and simulate, more of game experience for the guys, especially the new incoming guys that we have.
Let's go Dave Borges and then Mike Caratanudo.
Hey, Bob, I just had a couple of quick questions regarding your brother, Dan. Wondering if, first of all, did you consider at all playing a game with UConn coming out here this year, or is that something you would ever consider while he's there? And then the second question is, how do you think, if at all, Dan might be a different coach this season, just in terms of the fact he's got a little more of a talented roster, more expectations, maybe more leadership from his players? Do you sense kind of in year 3 of a rebuild, he'll be a little bit of a different coach than maybe he is in year 1 and year 2?
Yeah, Dave, Dan and I, talk frequently, and we would avoid at any cost playing each other if possible, and have a really strong connection relationship. We would not want to see the other guy, feel a certain way about the outcome of a game. Now, if a game like that would take place in the NCAA tournament or potentially, another tournament, I think Atlantis, I think we're both in that next year. If it ever worked out, then we would do the best we could just to kind of get through the game and do the best we could for our team to win. But yeah, and I think Dan feels really good about his team based on our conversations. Obviously not ideal with what he's gone through with the 2-week shutdown, and so many teams across the country are facing similar issues. So, but I think a big part of him just feels like really blessed and fortunate, like I do, that we have an opportunity to even get to this point where there's a chance that we can play games right now. So, but I think he really likes his team, and I know he's very athletic on the front court, great size and some really exciting young guards. So I'm really looking forward to watching UConn play this year.
Mike Caratanudo, Kent Summers, Doug Holler.
Hey, Coach, thanks for taking the time. You talk about rotation too. I mean, last year it seemed like Jalen House came off the bench, and you mentioned it a lot. I mean, just his defensive intensity, especially once you got to conference play too. I mean, just annoying a lot of the top, and I say that in a complimentary way, but annoying a lot of the top guards and playing that defense. I mean, is his spot kind of in the rotation? Do you have the same vision on that for him?
Yeah, I mean, Holland being in the picture now has added another element to that. So but certainly Jalen, if he focuses on what we're asking from him and really embraces that role, then I think there's certainly a chance that he could make a difference and have a chance to make an impact on what we're doing this year.
Kent Summers, Doug Holler, Chris Cartman.
Yeah, Bobby, anytime a team's got a lot of talent, especially guys who can score, we all talk about, well, how's the coach going to keep everybody happy? But isn't the flip side of that true too? I mean, you've got options. They've got to please you to to earn that right? Is that something you're kind of going through right now?
Well, I think it's more, Kent, that like I'm not as concerned about the offensive end, and actually there've been some terrific examples the last couple of days of the ball popping, and all of those guys just giving up a potentially good shot for a better shot, and then even a better shot. So from that standpoint, I'm not concerned. I'm more of like who's going to do what Mickey Mitchell did for us last year? You know, who's diving out of bounds to keep a ball in play? Who's getting on the floor for a loose ball? Who's going to take a charge? Who is going to, you know, do all the dirty work, all the little things that go into winning? Is being here important enough to know everything that we're doing? That when you leave here, you're going to watch our video playbook. So when we're running through dummy offense, that you just know, multiple positions. And you know, we've got to get it moving to get to that point. And that's a collective thing. It's not just one guy I'm talking about. We got to really circle the wagons and value all these details when you're playing against teams that, you know, the margin for error is very, very minimal. And that's and teams like Baylor will make you pay if you don't do all the things that I just mentioned to you.
Doug Haller, Chris Cartman, Michelle Gardner.
Bobby, based on what you've charted in practice and in scrimmages, how are you guys shooting the ball from the perimeter compared to previous preseasons?
Well, I think that could be, and I thought it would be better than it was last year. I really, I think Zoe coming on second half of the year, the way he was hitting from three, kind of gave you guys a glimpse of just, you know, what I thought he was capable of doing throughout the whole year. Now I think he'll be a guy that can make it. Holland has demonstrated that ability in practice to make shots, both off the dribble and catch and shoot situations. Tayshaun Cherry has shot it better the last 2 weeks. Feel pretty good about where he's at with that. And then Bagley is again a guy that repeatedly and consistently has made shots, you know, from a distance. So I think we have the capability of being a better, you know, 3-point shooting team than we were last year.
Chris Cartman, Michelle Gardner, Collin Harmon.
Bobby, earlier you mentioned Chris Ostin. Just curious your thoughts about how he's progressing, and then as part of that, what the interior post game sort of looks like on both ends behind Jalen Graham.
I think Chris embodies exactly what I was referring to about dating, and maybe the analogy that I might have missed. I mean, but he's blue collar, gritty, tough. You know, he's a guy that's getting on the floor for a loose ball. In one of our scrimmages, intra squads, he had 9 offensive rebounds. He's got a motor. He's low maintenance. Not a guy that I'm getting a call from the trainer, you know, 30 minutes before practice that he can't go. Like he's there every day. So, you know, he's earned, like coming in, I thought he had some limitations in our initial player development. Is he going to be a guy that, you know, I could play this year? But he's improved rapidly, and it's because he's in practice every day. He's working hard, and you know, he'll push Jalen Graham, you know, for minutes, and I think, you know, I have confidence that he's going to be a guy that, you know, that we could count on this year.
Michelle, Collin, and then Carson Breber.
Hey, Coach, was wondering about the availability of Kamani and Caleb, and even if Dazuba would figure into play this week. And also, the second part of the question, you referenced before that Luther Muhammad might redshirt, but now that it's kind of a free year, do you envision him being part of the plans this year?
Yeah, I should have addressed this sooner with Luther. Luther, you know, had a surgery on his shoulder. So it was an issue he had at Ohio State last year. If you watch some of the film on him, he had one of those undergarments that kind of kept the shoulder in place. So we did a procedure with that, which was, you know, he's looking at, I would say, another 2 to 3 months recovery. And we thought that was the best thing just for his long term, for him to get completely healthy and then to have an opportunity to get himself ready for next year. As far as Kamani, he was first time given the green light to do some live in the full court yesterday. So there's obviously going to be some rust with not having done that for 6 weeks, but he looked okay. And I think we'll continue to monitor him through the weekend and early next week, and we'll make a decision if he's going to be ready to play. I think Caleb is in a similar situation, just with the unfortunate nature of his injury and losing all that time. It was about the same time frame as Kamani, that he's just getting himself back integrated into what we're doing. So we'll see how he looks again through the weekend, but he is back in practice. Caleb is as well.
How about Dazuba?
Yeah, Pav is coming along. You know, I think it's, you know, again, he's going to need some time. I think just more work under his belt. What he's been put through has been, it's been an amazing journey to get here. So we're just thrilled that he's here and that, you know, he's getting these repetitions under his belt. He is healthy and he's a big body and he's strong. So I wouldn't have any reservations about playing him. I just want to make sure that, you know, he's got familiar enough with what we're doing. He's only had a fraction of what our practice. He's only been in a fraction of our practices up to this point. So just being careful with him, because he's got a really good future ahead of him, and just want to make sure he's ready when he hits the floor.
Collin, Carson Breber, Paul Richardson.
Hey, Bobby, good morning. In regards to the NCAA tournament potentially being played in a bubble, I mean, we've seen differing viewpoints from some big name coaches. Just curious, your thoughts on the potential for March Madness to be played in kind of a one city setting, and what the pros and cons might be once we get to tournament time.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot more intelligent people and smarter people than me that are sitting in rooms together talking about this stuff and figuring it out. And, you know, I have trust in that process. And again, I touched on it earlier, talking about my brother and our conversation and how lucky we both feel that our teams and our players are going to get an opportunity to play basketball next week. And I feel the same way about the NCAA tournament. You know, let's not, you know, it's fine to take a position on something, but the way the world has gone the last 8 months, let's just be happy we're doing it, period. So however we get to that point, let's just get there.
Carson, Paul, Trevor Booth.
Hey, Bobby, obviously you guys love to push and transition. Do you think that Marcus sort of adds another dimension to that as a bigger guy with the potential to grab and go and handle? And are you comfortable with him just taking it and going in those situations and not giving it off to Remy or Zoe or whoever else?
Yeah, I think that Marcus is going to be great filling the lane. He's shown a great ability to rebound, better than I thought he'd rebound, which has been a plus. Unfortunately, at times I see him dunking with not many guys around him in transition too frequently, which means the other team is not getting back well enough. So certainly, hopefully we clean that up the next couple of days. But yeah, we would like to get him in the open court, not only just filling a lane and possibly dunking it, but just getting himself behind the line somewhere, because you know, with the way the guards could get in the paint, I think he's had numerous instances where we've been able to hit the paint before the defense has been set, and the guards are looking for him because he can make shots.
Paul Richardson, Trevor, and then Tressa.
Hey, Coach, the draft was the other night. When the draft is happening, do you hearken back more to your days with your peers being drafted, like you, Grant Hill, or do you think more about the kids that you coach now and look back to them and their draft night when they were drafted?
Yeah, I thought about being there with Lou and Z and how that felt, and the pain that I felt, you know, that night. But looking back on it, I feel terrific for what Lou Dort is doing right now, and Zylan's in a great situation as well. So thought about that a little bit, and then just try and remind our team of examples of guys that are getting drafted. You know, I think the premium is on winning, and if you could be a part of something special in a winning program, your value is going to be significantly higher. These NBA organizations value guys that win, that and statistics don't always matter. You could look at a lot of examples of guys that put up huge numbers and didn't hear their name called. And then you're looking at other guys that are in the lottery that didn't even start for their team, or average less than 10 points. So as much as we talk about getting buckets and scoring points and putting up stats, I think it's more about, like, can you impact winning? How many different ways can you impact winning? What kind of leader are you? That's why you saw Peyton Pritchard get drafted in the first round. He put together a great career. He was a killer late in games. He could shoot. He's tough. And he had the experience. Teams trusted wanting to have a guy like him in their organization. So we try and remind our team of examples of guys and what it's going to take to get to that level.
Coach, you had to be happy to see him go. It seems like he had 8 years of eligibility.
Yeah, I mean, he hurt us, no doubt, over the years. So, but yeah, I'm happy for guys like that nothing was handed to him, had to grind it out, had to build a career, and had to earn it. And now he's in a good situation. So good for him.
Trevor, Tressa, Zach.
Hey, Bobby. Josh talked earlier this week about his confidence that you guys could interchange defensively and be pretty open to switching and being effective on that front. What's your sense of your guys' defensive versatility and identity this year in comparison to years past?
Yeah, I think the same speed and athleticism and quickness that we could exhibit offensively, we have to commit to doing defensively immediately, starting today when I see the guys in like an hour and a half. So just our lateral movement, the more the guards can contain the basketball, contain the dribbler, is going to help our defense. And we need those guys, as good as they're going to be on offense. They have to strive to be one of the best defensive perimeters in the country, in addition to because they're going to score, they're going to make plays, they're going to be dynamic, I think. So, I think if we could really get that commitment from the core guys to do that, it would certainly enhance our chances to be a much better defensive team.
Tressa, Zach, Saul.
Hey, Coach. Tressa Todrick, 3TV CBS 5, Arizona's Family. Thanks for your time. Just curious how the transition, I guess you've been doing this for a while with younger guys. How is it taking a guy who's used to being the guy, like a Josh Christopher or Marcus Bagley, and kind of teaching them how to play the Wii basketball sort of scenario and not just be dependent on themselves?
Yeah. I think the one plus with both Josh and Marcus is that they played with other really good players in AAU and all-star games and different events that, throughout their high school career. So this isn't the first taste of, playing with Remy or Zoe but I think it comes down to just, respect, respecting each other, trusting each other. Trust is an important word for me this year. Trust the guy you're playing with, that if you make the next pass, that he's going to, make the right play as well on offense. Trust that if I'm running back on defense 110%, that the guy to my left and my right is doing the same thing. Trust that if Chris Austin is blocking out, that 4 other guys are going to be blocking out with him to get the rebound. It's more than just, how these guys are going to be able to share the ball and play together on offense. It's going to be a total buy-in and commitment to do all of the other things that, may not always be valued, by high school players or incoming players that are critical to winning at the highest level here in college. So we're trying to, remind all the new guys, why we've been successful the last couple of years. And we've done a lot of those things that I've just touched on. And we have to have complete buy-in to do those things this year.
Zach, Saul, and then Hode.
Hey, Coach. Appreciate your time this morning. Zach Keenan for Devil's Digest. Jared Butler, also a Naismith Award watch list guy. Can you tell us a little about some of the things you're looking for in that battle between the point guards that we're going to have against Baylor? Yeah,
I mean, he's really good, and he's made a lot of big shots for them. He's a big guard. really gets downhill well. He's just one of many, though. Davion Mitchell was a one of the top defensive guards in the country. Really tough kid. On film, he was a standout for me. Vital, he's 6'6", plays the 3 and the 4. Goes after the ball, rebounds the ball. Teague, they have multiple weapons. They have a grad transfer that sat out, averaged 15 a game at his prior destination. So it's going to be, it's going to be a real challenge for our perimeter. And defensively, to contain those guards, do the best job they can, and then we're facing right out of the gate, what's projected to be possibly the best defensive perimeter in college basketball. So let's see if all the reps and all the work we're putting in is going to bear fruit, in that game for us. And so it'll be a big challenge for our team. And then Baylor and us are kind of similar in the turnover differential piece. If you look at their numbers from last year, they did a really good job of turning teams over, and were fairly low with their turnovers. So that's going to be an important thing for us is taking care of the basketball and trying to use our speed to hopefully generate some turnovers.
Saul, Doug Holler, Hode.
You kind of answered that question about the scouting report, Coach, but I guess I'll defer to this. Last year, watching Baylor play against Arizona, and they had freshman backcourt, and running up against those dudes was just a different animal. How are you going to manage any potential, missteps by Josh and Marcus when they face a team that's that physical and that strong and just that experienced overall?
Well, we're not going to be perfect, especially early, and we have to be able to turn the page. We can't be in our feelings at all. We miss a shot, we can't let it affect us. If we commit a turnover, make a mistake, one thing, we can't compound mistakes against a team like that, and then allow that to carry into a stretch of the game where we're disjointed as a group. We got to play together. We got to trust each other. And stick together through it a lot. There's going to be adversity during that game for sure. I've watched enough of their games that if any of you want to go watch Texas Tech at their place last year. It was, those low scoring, every possession mattered, grinded out, and they got into overtime and won. And so got a lot of respect for how they play, how hard they play, how they defend, how they rebound, and they're older, so it's we gotta grow up quick and be ready here. We gotta string together some good days on the practice court before we head out on Monday.
Have you already started to implement your game plan for next week?
We're in the process of trying to get everyone to execute what we're doing, and it's always a bit of a mystery to know exactly what your opponent's going to do based on not having seen them play this year. And certainly they'll, like we do, would have similar things we'll do on offense that we did last year, but there's going to be new things that you're putting in based on new personnel and things. So, but I have a firm handle on who Baylor is. I'm more focused on us, getting us to play at our peak, and our assistants do an outstanding job, and there'll be plenty of film study and walkthroughs. We're going to have 2 days in Mohegan, where we don't play until I think 9:30 on Wednesday, and we get in Monday night. So there's going to be a lot of time to watch film and prepare these guys.
Doug Holler, Hode, Michelle.
Bobby, who do you think has been your best practice player, not in terms of performance, but just somebody who shows up every day and you don't have to worry about their effort and just goes out and plays hard every day?
I would say, based on just what we've gone through the last couple of weeks, I would say it's Collin Woods and it's Marcus Bagley. Those two guys seem to, they're in practice virtually every day. They have good leadership qualities. They work hard. There's no drama. It's low maintenance, and and they're getting better. So I like what they're doing. You know, we have other guys I could talk about that I think are close to what those two are doing. But if you're asking me just to single someone out, I would probably go with those two right now.
Hode, Michelle, Jordan Spurgeon.
Bobby, when it comes to Tayshaun Cherry, have you seen him make the jump that you expected him to make now as an upperclassman?
I mean, Tay is, he went through some things in the offseason, and I'm not going to, again, I think I might have said this, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on that, but it's, you know, I feel like he's in a good frame of mind over the last week or so. Saw some good glimpses of what he's doing on the court. I think I'm just curious to see, you know, what he's going to do today in the next couple of days, you know, before we get on the plane. But he's certainly, I know a guy that everyone realizes like is a very valuable player to us this year, and someone that, you know, we need to perform well. And so I'm optimistic that he could put together a couple of good days and be ready to go next week.
Got time for a couple more, Michelle, and then Jordan.
Coach, wanted to ask you about Alonzo Verge. Obviously, at the end of last year, his game was really taking off, and he was really playing off Remy well. I've got to think he's been building on that. What have you seen out of him in practice?
He's been really good. He didn't have a good day yesterday. Be up front on that. So I'm looking for a bounce back with him today. But he's gone out of his way more to be a leader, and that's why I was disappointed in him yesterday. But he really has gone out of his way to talk to the freshmen in huddles, being vocal. He's been our most vocal guy, I think, of all the returning players. And he had a lot of days where he was really good. His game is in fantastic shape right now, just his basketball game. I like what he's doing in terms of his leadership, you know, outside of yesterday. So hopefully we put yesterday behind us and we get back to who we've been and how he's been way more consistent than what he showed yesterday.
Jordan Ham, Jordan Spurgeon, Carson, and then we'll wrap it up.
Hey, Coach, thanks for doing this. Just wanted to kind of piggyback off of Tressa's question from earlier about kind of going from being the guy to being a team player, you know, kind of working with those other kind of high profile guys. What role do you think, you know, patience and kind of that attitude helped Remy go from, you know, sixth man of the year now to a preseason All-American?
Yeah, I think Remy's circumstances were a little bit different coming in than, let's say, a Josh or a Marcus, just in terms of the ranking and the hype not being quite what you're seeing right now out of Josh and Marcus. So I think the pressure wasn't there necessarily to have it right away. And so you know, he was able to just fit into what we were doing. And he, you know, like I said, he embraced his role. He was, you know, sixth man of the year and had some monster games off the bench for us his freshman year. And so we're going to see how Josh's role evolves and how Marcus' role evolves. But I think, you know, if they really stay the course with what we're doing and listen to what the coaches are asking from them, that they're positioned to have outstanding individual, you know, seasons, and that's going to coincide with success if they're playing at the level they're capable of playing.
Jordan Spurgeon and then Carson, and we're done.
Cool. Coach, so yesterday Marcus mentioned obviously him and Josh spend a lot of time after practice getting shots up, and he also mentioned he feels like there are spots where him and Josh are leaders. What sort of leadership qualities have you seen from them in practice?
I just think my best advice is to lead by example. You know, just go out there and play as hard as you can. Go out there and make plays. Do what they're doing after practice. Maybe more guys are going to be willing to stay in the gym longer. You know, so those are, you know, I think we have plenty of vocal leadership. You know, my voice is pretty strong. Coach Berno's voice is very strong. Remy Martin is going to be very vocal. You know, Verge is going to be vocal. So we need guys just going out there and being connected as a group, you know, and playing with a great attitude, with great, you know, passion and toughness. And that's my advice for those guys. Just, lead by example. Go out there and make plays. Go out there and, climb the ladder a few times, get us a few blocks. Marcus is taking charges in practice. I think I'm going to see a time soon when Josh is doing the same thing. And the more that guys buy into doing all those things, then the better success we're going to have this year as a team. But I think that those guys have been really good about their work ethic and how they come to practice every day and getting that extra work. That's really key for us.
Carson, closing one.
Hey, Coach, sort of along those same lines, you've talked about some of the areas you guys want to improve defensively, but who are those guys who you turn to, not just as vocal leaders, but to lead by example in those spots if things aren't going your way? Who do you put in the game to sort of get things together on that end?
Well, I mean, I hope that Cherry, really, Tayshaun, could put it together and keep it together and hold it together. He's had, he plays with great energy. He really, rebounds the ball. He's good position defender, has good instincts on defense. So you're strictly talking about defense and a guy that, I think could impact it. I think he would be that guy. Jalen Graham with his shot blocking ability is, I think I could switch Jalen out, 1 through 5. He moves his feet well. He's fluid. So I think he could have, a really good impact defensively. Jalen House, obviously, in his role to come in and really guard the ball well. And I think Remy's talked about that too. And I've seen it in practices, man. He's gone, and when Bagley's gotten it going in practice, he's switched off onto him and, given up 6-7 inches and has guarded him well in those situations. So I know that Remy is as good an offensive player he is and a good of, leader he is. He's focusing on being a defensive minded guy this year too.
32 questions. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Appreciate all you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
See you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Bobby. Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, everybody.
You got it. See ya.